Welcome back to the kitchen. Told you we would unveil our mystery squash. We think this cross-pollinated with one of the neighbor's acorn squashes. We've been watching these. This one is turning pretty orange, so we're going to cut this one first. Now if you remember, this is what they look like in the garden. This one is turning really orange, so I think we're going to go ahead and open this one up and see what it looks like inside. So here's the big reveal. Let's see if I can't do it without cutting my... Yeah, the skin is still pretty tough, like it is a winter squash, like it is a spaghetti squash. Yeah, it's cutting like a winter squash. It's pretty tough. Ooh, that is beautiful. Take a look at what this looks like inside. And that has the consistency of a spaghetti squash. But let's pull this out and just take a look, and then we'll see how we're going to cook this. We're going to save these seeds because I think we're going to like this squash. Now I got a fork out because spaghetti squash comes out a little stringy. From what I can tell, just cutting it open, it's got a really nice squash smell. I think we're going to cook this one just like we do normal spaghetti squash. The skin was very hard, which I believe indicates that it's going to last just like a spaghetti squash for quite a few months if we wanted it to. But that's beautiful inside. I was kind of scared when they started to grow, but I'm very happy with this. After we cook this, I'll let you know what it tastes like. I'm not 100% convinced that this is an actual spaghetti squash. It smells a little sweeter, almost like an acorn squash. So since I can't really tell like this, we're going to cook it two different ways. I'm going to cook it like a traditional acorn squash, and I'm going to cook it like a traditional spaghetti squash. The way I cook a traditional spaghetti squash, I just set it upside down in a pan and add about, some water about halfway up. We'll bake it at about 350 for about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and we'll see what we get. So you just cover this with aluminum foil lightly, and then we'll go ahead and put that in the oven. I'm going to pretend it's a regular acorn squash and cook it the way I like to cook acorn squash. And put the tin foil down in here in case it bubbles over. I don't want to get yelled at for making a mess. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just set it in here. I just put a little butter. I've got a couple little cubes. And they'll melt down just fine. A little bit of brown sugar will melt down. Got to have a little salt and pepper. My friend Wes says I'm fancy, so I got a little sea salt. And we'll put that in the oven. As soon as they come out of the oven, we'll let you know what the verdict is. Whether it's an acorn squash, a spaghetti squash, or an Aketty, or a Spicorn. Leave a comment down below. What do you think we should call this? Put them in the oven for 40 minutes. I took a peek and I decided we probably ought to put it in for another 20 minutes. I'm going to see the one in the water bath first and see what we got. Oh no, that looks pretty nice. That looks pretty nice. That's why we have this little handle, which is very hot. Oh yeah, that's done. Let's get this on a plate and we'll see what we've got going on here. Well, I'm not 100% sure that's what this is yet. It's not stringing, but it's sort of stringing. We'll clean out what we can get and we'll see what we have. So this is not a typical spaghetti squash. So the verdict is still out. Let me get this cleaned out and we'll give it a taste. It's got a different consistency to it. See right here, it actually looks kind of like a spaghetti squash, but it's not really stringy. That is very, very sweet. Oh, that is nice. Well, let's get out the other one and see what we got going on. Oh, now that looks good. All right, I'm gonna make a mess here. Now this is a little bigger than a normal acorn squash, so I'm just gonna see what this tastes like. Ooh, that looks good. See if I can't do this without burning the roof of my mouth. Oh, it's sort of have a, it's not a spaghetti squash and it's not an acorn squash. But the sweetness, I think you could eat it either way. I'm going to eat it both ways. So you're gonna have to forgive me. I'm gonna go have dinner. Thank you for coming to the kitchen. We'll see you later. Come on, let's plant.
Let's go plant garden.